Hi everyone, it's been a while and I want to update you what's been going on. Mostly good things. I feel a whole lot better than I did when I first put on this campaign. It's been a little over a year. I would have to say that I feel my cognition is stronger. I'm a little bit more focused and I can read easier. Um, my memory. You'll probably see me struggle in this video to remember some things, but um, I feel that my memory is getting better. I still have some challenges. My headaches are less frequent and less the um, they're less pronounced. So it's becoming quieter and quieter and less frequent, which is great. The biggest thing that's still happening though is my sleep. Um, I've been able to sleep longer, sometimes 7 hours, a couple times 9 hours. That's really remarkable. But most of the time, even if I'm able to sleep that long, most of the time I'm still waking up in the middle of the night and up for at least a couple of hours. Um, a couple of things have changed. One, the sleep study that I did, I can't remember if it was November or October of last year, they determined that I have a mild case of sleep apnea, which means that I have interrupted sleep due to a blocked airway. Um, they calculated, they determined 14 times an hour, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually just a mild case of sleep apnea. Um, in the United States, most people have sleep apnea if they have a lot of weight on their throat, their trachea, due to fat tissues. Um, but in my case, the doctor told me that people of East Asian heritage um, have uh, a body type in which the trachea often collapses when sleeping on uh, our backs. And a mild case of sleep apnea is usually something not needing to spend lots and lots of money on to try to fix. Um, but because sleep is such an important part of a person's ability to recover from a traumatic brain injury, the doctor really emphasized or believed that this is a route that I should take. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm using something called a CPAP machine, which stands for Continuous Positive Airway Pressure Machine, where I wear this mask at night. And then there's a tube that comes out of here, and it pumps air in me constantly, so I'm always breathing. It's as worse, it's as bad as it looks. It's not very comfortable, and I've used it for several months, but I'm still not that used to it. It's quite cumbersome. It's a very heavy machine to lug around. I have to use it every single night. Um, so anywhere I go, I have to carry it along with me. But instead of 14 sleep interruptions a night, the machine tells me I have about 1.5 to 2 interruptions a night, which is a market improvement, and I'm hoping that has helped my brain's ability to recover. Um, so that's one piece of it. Um, Another strategy that I've adopted to help me fall asleep in the middle of the night if I wake up. I don't know why I wake up in the middle of the night, but I do know why I can't go back to sleep. It's because I have this cycle of anxiety. Um, I wake up in the middle of the night, and then I think, okay, I can't go to sleep, so that is going to be bad for my brain. And then if my brain is not working, then something bad is going to happen. And I'm worried about something bad happening, so then I can't sleep. And the cycle just goes on and on and on. And I just lay there in bed, frozen, thinking all these bad thoughts, and then I can't relax and I can't go to sleep. I've tried a lot of things. Some new methods worked for a while, like meditation or listening to chants. I even started listening to journal articles because I'm in grad school. I have to read a lot of articles. And so there's this app that I have that translates journal articles into audio. So I listen to quantitative and qualitative research methods spoken by this mechanical voice, the most boring thing you can imagine, which initially it actually did help me fall asleep. But I got so used to that still didn't work. My therapist helped me identify this cycle of anxiety and tried to interrupt that thought, helped me strategize a way to interrupt that thought by saying, okay, yes, me not getting a lot of sleep is going to affect my brain, but something bad won't necessarily happen, at least something not catastrophic. Um, I might mess up, I might make mistakes, but it's not going to be the end of the world. And then if I continue to tell myself those things, eventually, the theory is at least, that I can start to relax a little and eventually I'll be able to fall asleep. And that did happen last night. Instead of staying up for a couple hours, I think I stayed up for maybe 15 minutes and eventually I was able to go to sleep. Um, so that's really helpful. Another thing that I've been doing to help improve my mind is I have a new cognitive exercise that I just figured out on my own. A deck of cards. I sort through a deck of cards um, while adding numbers that I see scrolling randomly through a YouTube video that I found, random numbers. Um, and the only downside to that is I don't actually know if what I'm adding, the numbers I'm adding, is correct. So I have found people, friends who I talk to, and I ask them to count with me. Um, I do about 4 decks of cards while going at about quarter, 3/4 of the normal speed of a video. And if you are interested in helping me out with that, let me know because I've kind of run out of people that are wanting to do this. It's not very fun adding numbers together for 10, 15 minutes. But it is a very helpful exercise for me. And so there's that. I started, or back in November, I did a lot of things in November. Not only did I start using the CPAP machine, but I also went to see a neurologist. And a neurologist really experienced with, or has seen a lot of patients who had traumatic brain injuries, PTSD, and he is very familiar with what I was describing to him. And after feeling my body and noticing how tense my muscles were, he theorized that because of all the trauma, the physical trauma my body has been through, I have a heightened sense, a heightened um, sympathetic nervous system, the part of my body that has fight and flight response, as opposed to my parasympathetic nervous system, which is the um, relax and rest and relaxation part of my nervous system. So constantly I am on edge. And the doctor said that it doesn't matter how often I go see a cranial osteopath to get the bones in my cranium adjusted. It doesn't matter how many vision sessions I have. Using special glasses and doing different exercises and computers to try to fix my eyes. Doesn't matter how many massages I get to relax my neck, that's causing potentially causing strain on my head, that's causing my headaches. That all these things will help to a certain point, but because of that really intense sympathetic nervous system, it's gonna that nervous system's always gonna bring me back to this really tight state. Um, and the doctor, what really convinced me was when the doctor said that it's causing me to have receding gum lines, and that's true. I have terrible receding gum lines. I went to see a periodontist, a gum specialist, and he said, "Well, we tried all these things. We did blood tests. We can't figure out what's going on with you, but you have really bad receding gums, and we're gonna have to do some reconstructive surgery on your mouth, your gums, which is going to cost about $6,000." And the neurologist said, "Sure, you can do that, but because you're not treating the underlying cause, your gums are just going to keep on receding because your sympathetic nervous system is causing you to clench at night, which this extra excess force is causing your gums to recede." Um, so there are a lot of ways to take care of this problem. At Cognitive Effects, they noted that too, and they told me about this running interval uh, exercise that I do, where I get my heart rate up as high as I can by sprinting for a minute and then trying to breathe, having this very controlled breathing where I breathe out longer than I breathe in, which is trying to focus on my parasympathetic nervous system. Um, do that repeatedly, maybe 3 to 10 times, which is a very exhausting exercise, but it's supposed to help retrain that balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. That's one way to do it. But the doctor said, yes, I could do all that, but really the most effective way to do it, he believes, and especially since my body's been so traumatized for such a long period of time, it's such an ingrained sense of me that I really have to tackle it with medication. I wasn't keen on taking medication, but I'm kind of, I don't know what else to do. And what he's saying to me makes a lot of sense. I saw the doctor, the physician that's been overseeing this head injury of mine, and he thinks that is a probable theory, and he doesn't see much harm in taking this medication, especially if I'm being tracked for it. So he gave me the okay. Um, so I'm doing this. I'm taking something called buspirone, which is an antidepressant, about 15 milligrams of this, which is a fourth of a dose of someone who takes it for anxiety. Um, I'm taking citrulline, which is another antidepressant. It's an SSRI. It affects my serotonin levels. I'm taking 25 milligrams of this, which is about a half to an eighth of a normal dose of someone that has PTSD or anxiety. I'm taking magnesium glycinate complex, um, which is a dietary supplement to help relax my muscles. And I use this cream, it's topical magnesium to help my muscles relax. So I'm using all these things to help balance my nervous system. And the reason why it's a cocktail, the doctor said, is because he sees the most effective way of this balance is to both um, maintain the balance in my central nervous system and my peripheral nervous system and my muscles all at the same time. And I've been doing it for several months, and I haven't felt any side effects from it. And I feel improvement. gradual, but it is improving. And I don't know if it's because I'm using a CPAP machine, or if I'm using these drugs, or if I'm doing my cognitive exercises, or if my social and academic life seems to be solid. Um, I don't know what it is, but it doesn't. One doctor said, one cranial osteopath said, it doesn't really matter what is helping you as long as something is helping you and you are improving, and there's no negative consequences to that. Then you should just keep on doing all the things. So that's what I'm doing. Um, and finally, I have something called independent medical examination. Um, the desk injury was at work, and so um, most of these things have been covered by labor and industries or workers' comp. Um, the neurologist is not, because this is kind of, it's just not included. But a lot of the other stuff, my physician that I see, some of the osteopathic treatment that I get is covered, and the independent medical exam is third party physicians to that are going to examine me to see whether or not I have come to a point where they can close the case. Um, they want to do that because it's been open for over 2 years now, and I think they have good reason to close it. But then again, I'm not 100% better. I'm not the person I was before I was hit by the desk. I still have struggle sleeping. I still have some headaches. My cognition is not 100% back. Um, and so I'm afraid of that. However, a friend of mine said, well, uh, my therapist helped me identify that I have this mentality. It's part because of my personality and part because I just have lived experience, a lot of trauma in my life, where I feel that there's something wrong with me, that I'm not good enough. And if I can't identify what that something wrong is, then I'm going to keep on searching for it. And I'm not content with being okay. And so, uh, because of that, I'm kind of scared of this independent medical examination, because if they close the case, then I feel like I don't have a safety net anymore. And that terrifies me. Um, but recognizing that that could just be a fear of mine that I have to overcome, because I am improving and I do feel hopeful. Maybe I can take a look at this independent medical exam as something to celebrate instead of something to fear. Something to say, okay, I've been through all this, and now is a time where I can have some closure and to celebrate this process of recovery that I've been through. Um, I'm going to work on it. I think it's something really worth trying for, and I really have to thank you all for helping me get here, um, because yes, I feel so much better than I did a year ago after Cognitive FX, but I feel like a different person to when I had this head injury. I was uh, in such a dark place then, because I couldn't think, I couldn't sleep. Life just felt so terrible. Um, and now I see light. I feel happy. I feel good. I feel hopeful. Um, and I would not be here without all of you and all of your support. And I can't thank you all enough for that. Okay, I hope the next time I see you all again, I'll have more news. Better or worse, it doesn't matter, but I look forward to seeing you all again.